Thursday Night Tailgate, where the spotlight is always on the positive. Tune in Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time to hear your favorite NFL legends, players, and coaches sharing their stories. Now back to Chris and Bob.
I wouldn't joke about anything else that happens here tonight.
And now joining us on the Kyvan Foods guest line is Harvey ARmstrong. Let me give you some background on Harvey. He's from Houston, Texas, played his college ball at SMU, where he was named All-Southwest Conference his junior and senior seasons. He was the co-captain in 1981 and helped lead the Mustangs to the Southwest Conference title, a 10-1 record and a number 5 ranking, in the nation that year. He was inducted into the SMU Hall of Fame back in 2014. He was a 7th-round draft pick in 1982 by the Philadelphia Eagles, and he played in the NFL from 82 to 1990 for the Eagles and the Colts. And beyond all of that, he shares the same birthday with my oldest daughter. But Bob, I certainly hope my wife doesn't find out that we've got Harvey on the show tonight, because when we were at the Hall of Fame inductions, he terrorized her all night long. So we're just sort of now getting out of the therapy from the night that she spent sitting next to Harvey, and I could get into a bunch of trouble if she found out Harvey was on the show, but we're honored that Harvey is with us tonight here on Thursday Night Tailgate. Hey, Harvey, Chris, and Bob, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Harvey, how you doing? How you doing, Bob? Good. You guys hear me?
So,
yep.
Harvey, I want to start off our time with you tonight by going back to your time at SMU. I'm curious, how was SMU able to keep you away from Texas, Texas A&M, the University of Houston, oh, by the way, and Oklahoma for that matter as well? How did they get you to go to SMU?
Well, we have always vowed not to tell the total truth about some of the things that was offered to us. So I'm going to say political correct. SMU, to be totally honest, SMU was in a great city. It was a great atmosphere for me to be part of, for me to be the beginning, the start of something new. Texas had the tradition, A&M had a winning tradition, and for me I wanted to leave Houston, and so for me to go to SMU, it was something that I can start, something that I can be a pioneer. And it was a great city. It was close to my home, and they just, the head coach there, Ron Meyer, was just such a great recruiter. He can sell a drowning man a glass of water. He was just that good and convincing to my parents. And they had a great business school, what I wanted to major in. And those things there just really took me away from the Texas, because I just knew I would go to Texas. I knew I thought I might go to Oklahoma at the end, but SMU was able to convince me that I can be the start of something brand new and of something great, which came to truth.
And Harvey, you were there during the Pony Express days with Eric Dickerson and Craig James and that team. What was it like trying to chase those two guys around during practice?
Oh, well, they wouldn't let us hit them, so it was a blessing when we got in the spring game when we can actually tackle them. But it was always it was a challenge. Those guys were very good, very talented, very fast, but they were so good that they wouldn't let us tackle them or get to them. So in the spring game, it was a lot of trash talking, and it got to be so physical that they pulled Craig and Eric out. And I wish Eric would listen to this show now, because he would definitely have an argument and disagree with that. But we would kill them in the spring game.
And Harvey, like you mentioned at the top, right? We've all sort of seen the 30 for 30 episode, the Pony Excess, and what happened down there early in the mid '80s. Crazy time for the SMU program, and you went through the early part of that. So, what was it like as a college kid? You're a part of the team. You've got all these sort of outside, swirling issues. The Dallas oil money flowing around everywhere. What was it like, sort of being in the middle of that sort of storm, if you will?
It was. I'm thinking and I'm laughing, but I never called home for money. I never had to ask my parents because they sent money for washing clothes. Christmas time, we didn't have to look for Christmas gifts. The things that was going on at SMU was amazing. It was great for an 18-year-old kid. It was overwhelming at times. But what I always say in defense of SMU, that's what was going on in the Southwest Conference. You know, and my senior year of high school, I was offered a house for my parents. I was offered. Now I'm not talking about at SMU. I'm talking about other colleges. I'll give you guys a little dirt about SMU, but other schools offered me homes, cars, central air, burglar bars, carpet for my home, clothes for my parents and my brothers and sisters, shoes. When we played in the Astrodome, we had our whole team was furnished by college uniforms. I'm talking about the T-shirts, the sneakers, the cleats. I mean, we had all kind of things given to us. So my freshman year, I actually signed a contract to go to SMU. And so if I made all sophomore conference, if I made newcomer of the year, now I'm giving you all some dirt that I've never publicly said with a mic, or somebody can record this, or it'll be my statement. I didn't say that, but now I know this being recorded. It's streaming live. It'll be played again. But the things that was offered at SMU was amazing. And so, of course, I had a brand new car my sophomore year, and then I had a brand new car my senior year. So in 4 years, I had 2 brand new cars. I'm not talking about pre-owned. I'm talking about a Cougar. I'm talking about a Lincoln Mark 6 that I received my senior year. And I'm looking at myself. I'm thinking, I'm like, golly, I've never told this story. I really haven't. I really never told this to tell people what. So to go back to your question, because I'm like, am I saying way too much? But you know, me and Eric we're getting together and we're writing a book about the real story at SMU. 30 for 30, it gives you a lot of facts. It lets you know how deep it was because the governor was involved in the political side of it. But it was so much untold in that, because they asked me, they interviewed me and they asked me, Harvey, so why won't you tell us on air what SMU gave you? It's in the book. I said, well, the book might not, that's not what I said. Because we kind of said we wouldn't really tell the true story on TV and then for the media, because they look at SMU so bad. But it was going across the board in the Southwest Conference. The Houston, the A&M, the Texas. Texas was cheap, but TCU, Baylor. I mean, all the schools was offering us top dollars and top things and houses and cars and clothes. So I've told you guys way too much, Chris. I'm going to go back to War Eagles or something. I got to go back to something. Where your wife at? We need her to spur this conversation.
So Harvey, I mean, so if you fast forward, were you surprised at all when, in '87 when they got the death penalty? Were you shocked to hear that SMU got the death penalty?
Yes, I was very shocked. I really was, because, as I stated, it was going on across the board, and it got to a point where they really couldn't stop it. SMU did it on a high level, but the A&M, the Houston, all the guys, all the teams in the Southwest Conference was doing it. So when we got the death penalty, yes, I was very, very surprised, to be totally honest. But it just got to a point where you really couldn't stop it, because when you stop it, then the players started running their mouth and telling off on well, they offered me this and they did this. When they got the death penalty, I didn't think the NCAA would penalize us to that degree.
5 questions for Harvey.
Harvey, it's great to speak with you again. I looked at the legacy of Kashmir High School, and I know you want to give them a shout out. I was impressed from that high school, went on to the league, especially guys like Rodney Hampton, Delvin Williams, some big names, Harvey. I was just wondering, do you still, is there a major, strong alumni network down there? Do you keep in touch with some of these? That's some tradition down there.
Yes, we do. We have a formal players athletic association that we go to a banquet and go to we do every year. You didn't mention Jacob Green, Mark Lewis, and so they came out with a poll this morning on ESPN. I was watching it. I was so disappointed because they didn't mention. They were talking about the cities that they have NFL players, the smallest cities that people have come, NFL players have come from. In Texas, Houston wasn't even named. Within a 15-block radius in my high school area, as you stated, 15 guys played in the NFL 2 years or more. I thought that was amazing. And, you know, Rodney Hampton would be one of the top guys. Jacob Green will be coming up for the Hall of Fame that you didn't mention. Of course, you have the Harvey Armstrong. I'm not the big name, but, of course, I'm still from that neighborhood in Cashmere. So big shout-out to Cashmere High. We were definitely top dogs. They talk about Port Nature's Grove and Memorial, and when they talk about Friday Night Lights, and that kind of disappointed me that they don't talk about Cashmere.
And Harvey, when you got to the league in '82, Vermeil was your head coach and ultimately was replaced by Marion Campbell, who was the defensive coordinator that first year. Talk to me about Campbell as far as the difference between him as a coordinator and when he became the head coach.
Oh, when he became a head coach, I mean, it was just a different flavor. Dick Vermeil was just so fiery, so emotional, so into the players, and had so much passion. Swamp Fox, as we called him when he took over, he just was a laid-back type of coach. He had been there for a while, and he just didn't have that same fiery mindset and mentality and raw type of attitude that Dick Vermeil had. Dick Vermeil was like, wow. I mean, it was. I mean, my rookie year playing for him was so outstanding, and I had a chance to talk to him at the Hall of Fame this past a couple of weeks ago. He was there, and I just said thank you for drafting me. He had no idea who I was. He didn't remember me, but I told him who I was. You draft because he didn't allow himself to get to know the rookie. Dick Vermeil did, and so he was all about the veterans. And so the difference of the two, to answer the question, is just he just was a laid-back type of coach, and Dick Vermeil was in your face, raw type of guy, and had you ready to run through a wall in his pregame speeches. He even got emotional, would even cry. You know, for a 21-year-old rookie, seeing a grown man cry with the guys making that kind of money, that was very, very wow. It was very overwhelming, and it was just great to see.
And Harvey, you know, coming out of SMU again, you guys had success, right? You were a co-captain of the team. You're later inducted into the Hall of Fame, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But were you surprised that you weren't drafted until the 7th round? I mean, how much more successful could you have been to not get as much attention as you probably deserved?
Surprised? I was crushed. And I was telling my wife the story how I was drafted the second day. At that time, we had 12 rounds. And so I was projected to go in the second or third round to New England because at that time, Ron Meyer and the whole staff who recruited me out of high school and coached me for 4 years, they went to New England. But their biggest need was defensive linemen. Of course, they took Kenneth Sims, the first pick that year, and from University of Texas. And so when I didn't get drafted by them, then my name started floating because, well, why wouldn't New England take Harvey Armstrong in the 3rd round or the 4th round, and where I was projected to go? And so when I didn't get drafted to the second day, Dick Vermeil called me at 8:05 a.m. I was still just emotionally a wreck. I really wanted to say, no, I don't want to play with you guys. I want to go to Canada. And so, of course, I wasn't that stupid, but I was very, very crushed, very surprised. Everybody was calling me, of course, the night of the draft, the first round, the first 6 rounds, they was calling me, and so it was a very surprise, it was very emotional. I mean, I cried like a baby, I really did, but I just vowed that I would show all these teams who passed on me, but I just at that point I wanted to go to Canada.
And Harvey, as I sort of look back over, your game logs and, the games you got to be a part of and play in, the first sack that I saw you get credit for, and they didn't credit guys for sacks until '82, but the first one I saw you get credit for came against Washington and Joe Theismann. Do you remember sack number 1?
Do I remember it? Yes. I can tell you the move I put on the offensive line. The lineman that, oh yes, I teased Joe about that. Of course, he doesn't know my name, but he know if I say Harvey Armstrong, he's not gonna come up to me and say, hey Harvey. But I say when I see him, I say, Joe, you were my first sack. He said, Harvey, I hear that damn story all the time, so you need to stop telling me that. I said, well, you were my first, so I'm just, you're going to always mean something to me. So it's kind of a going back and forth joke that I have played on him. But, yes, I do remember that, and that was an outstanding day. And it was a big sack, too, at that time. So, I celebrated like a Mark Gastineau. Some of the people that's listening, they probably don't have a clue who he is. But he's one of the outstanding defensive linemen who had that crazy dance. And, I celebrated way too much. And the guys, they gave me a hard time. Like, Rook, you got to act like you're going to come back and get another one. Well, I don't know in these times. You never know. So.
And Harvey, a few years later, you had 2 sacks in a game against the Packers up in the cold in Green Bay. What was it like to have a big game, in that stadium on that field?
Now, you guys are bringing back the memories that of course, my family they didn't see me play. My wife, my daughter, they'd never seen me play. So, of course, I used to tell them I was pretty good. I don't have the big name, but your dad played pretty good. In the Green Bay game, wow, I'm just sitting here smiling thinking, I had a pretty big game. I had like 9 tackles, 2 sacks. I blocked the pass with like 3 seconds to go and kind of won the game, or was a big part of the win. So that was outstanding for me to play that big in that stadium, with all the history there. And so I have tape of that now. Nobody wants to watch it in my house, but every now and then I used to just kind of look back and have some flashbacks with it. But you guys got me smiling now, thinking about, wow, I really did play. I had a big game that game. So thanks a lot for bringing that up, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Harvey. Bob, one more for Harvey before we let him go?
I do. I'm gonna keep making Harvey happy. His resume was complete in '86 with the 1 interception. Harvey, do you still have the ball? Take me back to that day. It must have looked like a huge thing coming down at you.
You know what? It was against the Giants. It was against Phil Sims. And it was a 3rd down. He was rolling. It's amazing how, I do have some loss of memory from CTE, but it's amazing how certain things just, golly, it was like yesterday. But it was a rollout, and I tipped it, and I caught it, and I had a free 40-yard route to the end zone, and I tripped. I stumbled, and I fell. No one tackled me. Of course, Sims just came and touched me. But that interception, I could have scored, but of course I was too clumsy and too excited. And do I still have that football? Yes, I do. I wish I was in my basement. I would have to do a Snapchat or whatever they do nowadays, my daughter, with these pictures. But yes, I still do have that. I have my first NFL interception football in my trophy room in the basement.
That's great.
And Harvey, you were teammates with our mutual friend, Jeff Morad, who we saw get inducted into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame earlier this summer. Talk about what it was like playing alongside Jeff.
Jeff is a beast. People don't mention his name enough. Jeff was one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I think he led the lead in tackles a couple of years. And Jeff would play hurt, of course, that's why he's so beat up now. But Jeff was very intelligent. I mean, he was physical, he was fast, he was quick, and he knew it. And he knew where the play was coming. I mean, you would hear Jeff yell out, "Harvey, strong, it's coming." Donnell, so he studied the game. He was physical, and it disappoints me that people don't talk about Jeff Morad as one of the top linebackers in the NFL. The Colts don't have him in the Ring of Honor. Disappointed about that. And the NFL, they just really don't talk about him as much. I was so thrilled to see him get inducted into the Alabama Hall of Fame. And he deserved it, but he deserved more recognition in the NFL because he was a 10th round draft pick coming out. Of course, none of us thought he would be anything. He was kind of short, stubby, always running around in practice, hitting everything they walked. We called him All Eagle Creek because in practice, when he shouldn't hit people, he was hitting people. And his whole career was like that. Throughout his career, Jeff Morad is, you see what kind of praise I have for him. I think he was one of the best linebackers ever to play the game, and people just don't realize that. But if you sit there and watch tape, Chris, I think you would agree with this because you know him and you see him, so maybe we bias. But even taking the bias out, the fact that I like the guy, I think he's, love him like a brother. If you watch Jeff Morad play a whole game consistently, you're going to see 54 show up. You're going to see him show up every snap. Every time the ball is somewhere, he's there.
Yeah, no doubt. He was a great player, and I couldn't agree with you more. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, and I can't believe he's not in the Ring of Honor.
I know. Don't tell Jeff I said all these. I know. I agree. Don't tell Jeff I said all these nice things about him. Now you know he won't be able to handle that. So, we getting soft in our old age. But so if he asked me that, I ain't saying nothing good about you. I don't like you.
Harvey, before we let you go, let our listeners know what you're doing now.
Me and my wife have an all-state agency here in Atlanta. So I also have a foundation, Starstruck Foundation. We deal with at-risk kids. We give out scholarships every year to the youth here in Atlanta. So out of those two things, along with my 11-year-old daughter, I have a daughter in L.A., but when she's here, they just keeps me busy. My 11-year-old is doing everything from singing to acting to whatever. So that keeps me busy. So I'm just from insurance to my foundation to speaking with the kids. I do a lot of speaking engagement. Would love to do more. So people can always go to my foundation, look me up at starstruckfoundation.org. So those are the things that I love doing, speaking and dealing with kids. And of course, hopefully when we hang up, I'm gonna call you guys. Maybe I can get y'all insurance. So that's always I'm going to always try to plug it up. But we're McCarty Armstrong, All-State Agency here in Atlanta. So, but
great stuff, Harvey. Thank you so much Thank you so much for your time. You're fantastic. We got to get you back on the show again real soon. We hope you'll come back and join us again.
Hey, man, I would love to. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep doing great work.
Appreciate it. Take care, Harvey. All the best to you and your wife and your family.
Thank you. Tell your wife I said hello and tell her I said War Eagles.
Thank you, Harvey.
All right, guys. All right, thanks a lot.
Good night.
That is former Eagles and Colts nose tackle Harvey Armstrong. Never had to call home for money, Bob, when he was at SMU. Interesting story. Can't wait for the book.
Yeah, take what you want from that, but pretty impressive, Chris. 7th round draft pick who played 8 years in the league, and that's pretty impressive. And played with some great players and some two terrific franchises. So very colorful guy. Would love to speak with him again.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to get Harvey back on the show. And he and his wife were fantastic. We had a great time sitting with them at the Hall of Fame dinner. So, yeah, he's a great guy. Cool. His wife was fantastic. So look forward to getting Harvey back on the show again real soon.